What's up guys, and welcome back to another video here on B-Mills Wrestling. In today's video, I'm going to be predicting the WrestleMania 42 match card. And yes, I know that WrestleMania 41 was just a few days ago, but I figured I would do it anyway and see how close I end up being on these predictions next year. Guys, before we get into the video, if you're not already, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss any new uploads, and don't forget to leave a like on this video. Without further ado, let's get to predicting. So I do have about 17 matches that I'm going to talk to you guys about, and I know that all those matches won't happen, but I just wanted to include as many people on this card as I could. The first match that I have on here for the WrestleMania 42 card is Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. We obviously know their history ties back to when they came into the industry together back in the Shield days. Seth turning on Roman and basically forcing Roman to turn into this tribal chief character because of all the hatred and the betrayal that he has felt. And Seth Rollins is the pinnacle of that. And obviously, we just saw them renew their rivalry this past year and lead to a WrestleMania triple threat match with them and CM Punk. And obviously, Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns' wise man, turning on him for none other than Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns' arch nemesis. I mean, it's pretty simple. This doesn't need a title at all, and this could very well be the main event, and probably should be the main event of either night one or night two. I think that this isn't really a hot take. I think it's the perfect time to conclude the story of Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and have Roman Reigns finally beat Seth Rollins, because Seth Rollins has had Roman Reigns' number for years, ever since he turned on the Shield. So I feel like this is the perfect place to conclude their story one-on-one. No CM Punk, no other guys involved in this match, no Paul Heyman, just a clean one-on-one between both of them to finally finish their story in the WWE. The next match that I have on here is for the WWE Championship, and that is Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. Now, I did predict that this was going to be the WWE Championship match for WrestleMania 41 in the main event. Obviously, that didn't happen. It was Cody versus Cena, with Cena winning his 17th championship. But this is still a dream match for many, including myself, and I think that it has to happen at WrestleMania, because I don't think a match like this you can really put on any other PLE. So I think that this is perfect. Whether that's Randy Orton winning the Royal Rumble or the Elimination Chamber, I feel like the Chamber would be more likely, just because Royal Rumble winners are, for guys who need them, right, and haven't done it before. Randy Orton's already won the Rumble a couple of times, so I think that it would make perfect sense for this to happen at WrestleMania. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, well, how does Cody Rhodes win the championship back? Well, that's simple. I do think that Cody will beat Cena for the title. I think it's going to happen at SummerSlam. I think John will have a few feuds with Randy, Punk, maybe someone else, before Cody comes back and takes what is his, which is the WWE Championship. And I think he will hold it till WrestleMania and then go on to take on Randy Orton, with potentially Randy Orton probably most likely turning heel on Cody Rhodes, and we finally get that storyline. Because let's be honest, they've teased it a bunch. So many times over the past year have they had Randy Orton just stare at the title when Cody's holding it, or just make a facial expression, or say something to Cody. So it's bound to happen, and I think that WrestleMania 42 is the perfect place for it to finally happen. The next match that I have on here is CM Punk versus AJ Styles. Now, I know where both of these guys are at right now. You're probably thinking it's never going to happen, but I think that this is a dream match, right? The best in the world versus the phenomenal one. I mean, the headline is there, and they would absolutely put on a banger of a match. Obviously, both guys getting up there in age. They don't have many years left. AJ Styles said he's not wrestling past 50, and he's 48 right now. So this might be his last WrestleMania. He might get two more. I think that one of these last two WrestleManias, a perfect opponent is CM Punk, because it's been a dream match for so long. I wouldn't even care who would win this match, because I would just be so happy to finally see them cross paths within the WWE. I think another good match would be Punk versus Owens, because they've teased that, and I think that would cook. But sadly, with the injury, I don't think Kevin Owens is going to make it to WrestleMania 42. So I think this is the best direction. I don't really see CM Punk being involved in the world title picture, because I think he'll be in the world title picture around this time right now, maybe against John Cena at Money in the Bank or whatever it is. You also have to take into account that the Royal Rumble is in Saudi Arabia. He's not going to work that. He's probably not going to be working a lot of that time. So I don't really see him getting himself in the world title picture if he's not going to be in the Royal Rumble able to win it, because then I don't see him being in the chamber match. So I feel like this is the best direction that they could go for, and it would be one hell of a match. The next match that I have on here is for the World Heavyweight Championship, and that is Bron Breakker defending that title against who I think will win this year's Royal Rumble, Sami Zayn. Now, I know that we've seen this match twice for the Intercontinental Championship, with Sami winning the first and Bron winning the second, and they were both great matches. I think that these guys are both incredible in-ring workers and can tell a great story within their matches. And I think that WWE is going to trend towards continuing this underdog story every year at WrestleMania. They did it with Sami and Gunther at WrestleMania 40. They did it with Jay vs. Gunther at WrestleMania 41. I think they're going to continue to do that, and I think they're going to do Sami vs. Braun at WrestleMania 42. I know a lot of people won't like that, and I'm personally not the biggest fan of this match. I think we could probably get something a little better, but I think this is the most realistic option because I do think with Bron Breakker joining forces with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman and losing his Intercontinental Championship, he is ready for the main event picture, and the main event picture is the World Heavyweight Championship. So whether that's Braun winning the Money in the Bank and cashing it in on Jay or whoever is the champion at the time, or if he just wins a clean match one-on-one or with the help of Seth and Paul Heyman, whatever it is, I think that Braun will walk into WrestleMania 42 as the world champion, and I do think Sami Zayn will go in to this match as the underdog after winning the Rumble, and, everyone's saying he can't do it, and then we finally get Sami Zayn winning his first world championship in WWE, similarly to how they obviously did Jay vs. Gunther this year, with Jay finally winning his first world championship. The next match that I have on here is Gunther versus Ilya Dragunov. Now, this is obviously another dream match for the main roster. They've had plenty of matches in NXT, and they've all been so good. These two just have unreal chemistry together. These guys could have good matches with a broomstick if you ask them to, and with Ilya set to return on, I believe, September, I think that this is perfect because I don't see Gunther really being in the world title picture, at least for a little while. And I was looking down the roster, like who could he have a singles feud with? I was looking at guys like LA Knight, but I didn't really want that. So I saw Ilya Dragunov, and I said that could really cook because Ilya Dragunov got hurt in a dark match with Gunther. Now they could make that into a storyline, and like I said, they can put on a great match at WrestleMania. I wouldn't care who would win this match either. I just think it would be perfect to really showcase Dragunov, and what better partner than Gunther to pair Dragunov with to really showcase his talent. I think that would be huge for him, and I think that this would just be an excellent match. The next match that I have on here is for the Intercontinental Championship, and that is Rusev defending that title against Sheamus. Now, we obviously just saw Rusev debut on Monday Night Raw this past episode, taking out Alpha Academy and Otis. He's obviously a heel. I think they told us that, and he is going to look like a dominant heel, or at least he should. They should book this run as him just running through the entire mid-card, and I know that Dom's the champion right now, and he should have a good long reign, but I think when the time does come, I think that Rusev should get his hands on that championship and go into Mania as the champ. And then we finally get the story of Sheamus finishing his story and becoming a Grand Slam champion, winning that IC title. I thought it was going to happen this year at WrestleMania 41. He wasn't even on the card, which I thought was really disrespectful. So I say let's shoot for it again. WrestleMania 42, let's give Sheamus his Intercontinental Championship. Next match that I have on here is a singles match between Jey Uso and Logan Paul. Now, I know that this one is super random, but these two obviously have to make it to the WrestleMania card, and I just thought it was perfect because every year Logan Paul goes up against some top babyface. Did it against AJ Styles this year, last year against Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. You saw Seth Rollins the year before that. So I think they'll continue to trend in that direction and give him Jey Uso. I don't expect Jey Uso to carry the World Heavyweight Championship all the way to WrestleMania 42, nor do I want that. I think he should have a solid reign, maybe lose at SummerSlam or something like that, but I don't see him walking into Mania as the champion. So other than this just being a random feud, I don't really have too much to say about this other than that they both deserve to be on the WrestleMania card, and it's one of the top babyfaces versus one of the top heels in the business, so I think it would work. The next match that I have on here is also just super random, and that's LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre. Now, no title on line for this either, and I just feel like you have to have both of these guys on the WrestleMania card. LA Knight's a top babyface in the business, and Drew McIntyre's a top heel, so just like Logan versus Jay, I think it would work. They obviously have a little bit of real beef behind the scenes with LA Knight messing up Drew's spot in the Royal Rumble, and Drew was furious about that. And they kind of went into that a little bit on the, I think it was Raw or SmackDown after Mania, or not after Mania, after the Royal Rumble. So I think it would work. I want Drew McIntyre to be in the world title picture at WrestleMania, but I just don't see it. I feel like Braun and Cody will be the champions going into Mania, and they could do something like Cody versus Drew, which I would 100% be there for. But then what do you do with Randy Orton? I don't know. I feel like Cody versus Randy is the bigger story than Cody versus Drew. So I'm just going to have to put Drew in this match. Maybe Drew gets a world title run during the summer. Maybe he beats Jay and then eventually loses it. I don't know. But this is what I have for the card. Next match that I have on here is Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. Now, I don't know if this has the legs to make it all the way to WrestleMania, just because we're obviously already seeing teasers of Finn ready to turn on Dom. So I don't know if this is going to take us to WrestleMania 42. But once again, like I was saying with the last two matches that I said, I just feel like these guys have to be on the card, and I didn't have them in any other matches because I didn't want to put Dom in the mid-card title match again. And then Finn, I didn't want to do that with again because I feel like WWE's not going to put them in a same particular match, because you'll see as I get into the IC and US title matches, or the US title match, I should say, I already did the IC title, it just wouldn't make sense for them to be in it. So if this has the legs, then great, but we saw that Finn Balor and Damian Priest didn't have the legs to make it all the way to WrestleMania, so I doubt this will either, but it's just there to be there. Next match that I have on here is for the WWE Tag Titles between the Street Profits and Penta and Rey Fenix, the Lucha Brothers. I know that Penta and Rey Fenix are on different brands right now. They are getting singles pushes, and I think that Triple H and WWE has done a great job with them as single stars. But I do feel like with the upcoming draft that they will get drafted to the same brand and that they will eventually join up as a tag team. I don't know when that would be, maybe later during the year or maybe as soon as like the summer. But either way, I do think that the next step for them is to come together as a tag team once again and then go into WrestleMania and have a tag match against the Profits. The Profits should have defended the titles at this year's WrestleMania, and that was a huge swing and miss from Triple H. So this cannot miss WrestleMania whatsoever. This would be an unbelievable match. This is a dream match. Two of the best tag teams in the entire world. And you could also throw in maybe like DIY in this match as well if you want to make it a triple threat tag. Maybe a couple other tag teams if you really want to. But I think that this would be an excellent match, and I would 100% be down for it. The next match that I have on here is for the WWE Women's World Championship between Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. This is obviously another dream match for many people, including myself. And I think a lot of people thought that maybe we were going to get it at WrestleMania 41. But obviously we got Jade versus Naomi instead and Bianca in the world title picture. But I think that Bianca could be teasing a heel turn. She could be turning heel soon. And like I said in previous videos, I feel like it would be smart to make her the one behind the Jade Cargill attack. And, you know, Naomi was just kind of doing it for Bianca. So I think that they could lean into that story. And it doesn't need the title necessarily, but I think it would make sense to have the title on a heel Bianca Belair. And then just have a great match with Jade at WrestleMania. We saw Jade put on a solid match with Naomi in her first PLE singles match. So keep building Jade as a single star, get her more over with the crowd as the year goes on, and then eventually lean into that amazing story between Bianca and Jade and do it for the Women's World Championship. The next match that I have on the card is for the Women's Intercontinental Championship between Becky Lynch and Bayley. Now, this is another one that might not happen, and it could happen earlier before WrestleMania. We obviously all know that Becky just turned heel on Lyra Valkyria after they lost the tag titles, and she is presumably coming after the Women's Intercontinental Champion, Lyra Valkyria, probably at Backlash. But I think that Becky will win the title sooner or later if she doesn't win it there. And obviously we saw Bayley get attacked by somebody before the WrestleMania match. It wasn't Liv and Raquel, obviously. They just get blamed for attacking people like Jade Cargill. It was obviously Becky Lynch. With this heel turn, I think it's safe to say that it was definitely 100% Becky. So I think that Bayley could miss some time and then maybe take a break, eventually return, and then you get Becky versus Bayley at WrestleMania for the Women's IC title. And obviously these are two of the four horsewomen with them, Charlotte and Sasha Banks. So a lot of story telling between the two of them. Their history goes way back, and this is just a great way to build up the women's IC championship. Obviously was left off of WrestleMania this year. Lyra didn't defend her title. She was involved in the tag team titles match. So if they want to build this title, I think that Becky versus Bayley at WrestleMania for it would just be perfect. The next match that I have on the card is a 6-man ladder match for the United States Championship between Jacob Fatu, the champion, I would assume, Chad Gable, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, Aleister Black, and Jimmy Uso. This is also just super random, but I wanted to get all of these guys on the card because I feel like obviously Chad Gable deserves to be on the card. Carmelo Hayes needs his first WrestleMania after missing this year's, which I think he should have been a part of. Andrade missed WrestleMania this year. He should have been, I think it should have been a ladder match this year instead of LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. That's a story for a different day. Aleister Black is debuting on this upcoming episode of SmackDown. I feel like he has to be on WrestleMania, especially since I have Rusev on there as well. Ray Phoenix, Penta, all the guys that just got signed. I think that it would make sense for Black to be in this mid-card division. And then Jimmy Uso as well. Jimmy missed this year's WrestleMania due to the fact of building Jay versus Gunther, and he, low-key, was the MVP of that feud. He helped it so much. And what was the risk? Well, missing WrestleMania. So I think that he deserves to be on WrestleMania 42 in this match. And in my opinion, like I said before, I think Jacob Fatu should go on a monster heel run with this U.S. title. Just run through the entire mid-card and hold it for an entire year. And, you know, what's a perfect way for him to lose the title? In a ladder match, because he doesn't have to get pinned or any type of multi-man match like you saw with Braun Breaker. They protected him because he didn't have to get pinned to lose his title. Now he's in the main event scene. I think they can do the same thing with Jacob Fatu by having him lose it in a ladder match and then move him straight into the main event scene. So I would 100% be there for this match, and I would hope a guy like Jimmy Uso or Carmelo Hayes would walk out as champion. Next match that I have on the card is Io Sky versus Charlotte Flair in a non-title match. This was also kind of for the sake to just throw them both on the card, assuming Charlotte is still around and healthy, and obviously Io Sky has to be on WrestleMania. I was just going down the field of the roster, seeing who could match up with Charlotte the best in a one-on-one match. I think it would be Io Sky, because we obviously just saw Tiffany Stratton. That wasn't a great match. We've seen Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair in the past, and you know, Bianca Belair is a route that they could go, but I have her involved with Jade. So who's the other woman right now in WWE that is scorching hot and a babyface? That's Io Sky. So you get a top babyface in the women's division versus the top heel in the women's division, and obviously two incredible wrestlers, and I would hope that they would have more chemistry than Tiffany and Charlotte did. I don't think that there would be too much real beef between them, so I think that they could work to put together a good story and an even better match. The next match that I have on here is for the WWE Women's Championship between Tiffany Stratton and Rhea Ripley. Now, I'm not sure if this one is going to happen, and I don't know who would be the babyface or the heel, because obviously they're both super over with the crowd. I think that they're both better as heels, but one of them would have to be a babyface in this situation. And I honestly don't know who would walk into this match as champion, but this is another dream match for a lot of people, including myself. Rhea and Tiffany are two incredible workers, incredible wrestlers, incredible storytellers, so I think that they could have a banger of a match together. Obviously, they were involved in matches like War Games with each other, and they tagged a while back against Liv and Raquel, I believe it was. So there's a little bit of history there, not too much, but I think that they're two over stars in the company that should both, in my opinion, be in the world title picture mainly all the time. So I think that this would be an excellent match, and I would 100% be excited for this. The last match that I have on this card is for the Women's United States Championship, and I have this being a ladder match between Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, Roxanne Perez, Naomi, Chelsea Green, and Lyra Valkyria. Now, once again, I just wanted to get all of these guys on the card because I think they're all worthy of WrestleMania and a WrestleMania moment. So I think this would be perfect. And like I was saying with Becky versus Bayley for the Women's IC title at WrestleMania, this would help this title so much. I think adding Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, and Naomi into the mid-card division would help it entirely. I have Lyra and Chelsea in there as well. They're the current women's mid-card champions right now. So this would obviously be assuming that they get drafted to the same brand, whether that's Raw or SmackDown. And like I said, I think this would be an excellent match with a bunch of incredible workers. And I really wouldn't care who would win this match. I don't know who would go into the match as WrestleMania, but it's 6 incredible workers in the women's division that can tell a great story and have an absolute banger of a match. And I think I speak for everyone when I say we want ladder matches at WrestleMania. So making the men and the women both have a ladder match at WrestleMania, in my opinion, would be awesome. We didn't have any ladder matches this year, so that was a little hurtful. But hopefully WrestleMania 42, we can at least get one ladder match. But I would love for this to be the match that they get. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys like this video, make sure to leave a like down below. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss any new videos. And yeah guys, that's going to do it for the video. Peace.